Stacy. Good to see you guys. Thank you.
I can start?
All right.
Good morning. As a proud family man with 3 daughters, let me be one of many today who wish our mayor and his first lady congratulations on their impending parenthood. We wish the First Lady much health during this blessed time. The Arts Commission is honored to join our mayor at this morning's announcement. The mayor's courage and willingness to pursue a vision has been demonstrated on many fronts, and it includes the arts. It was directly due to the mayor's embrace of the work of Patrick Doherty that makes this temporary installation in the Civic Center Plaza possible. And for that, the Arts Commission wants to thank the mayor. Patrick Doherty is part of a small breed of artists who have worked over the years to combine an art aesthetic that is attuned with nature, helping to remind all of us of the interrelationship between humankind and the environment. Our thanks at the Arts Commission also go to the support not only of the mayor, but of Rec and Parks Department, which is often our collaborator in many of these temporary public art installations here, and the Public Utilities Commission, Laura Spanger was here, who really helped to underwrite this sculptural installation called The Upper Crust by Patrick Doherty. And this installation will grace the Civic Center Plaza for about a year. And finally, I want to acknowledge the great work that the staff of the Arts Commission has undertaken in making this exhibition possible, and the commissioners themselves, spearheaded by our president, PJ Johnson, who's here today. And I want to acknowledge Regina Almagor, who is the project manager for this, as well as Ellen Shershaw and Jill Manton. Now, join me in welcoming our mayor, our Mayor Gavin Newsom. Patrick Newsom.
Patrick will solve the budget crisis. Thank you. Thank you all very much for being out here, and thank you, Luis, for initiating this project here in the Civic Center. I remember when you came into the office, it seemed like 6-8 months ago, with some photographs of similar installations that Patrick had done elsewhere, that I was quite enthusiastic, but also had some trepidation, as always, when it comes to public art, because everyone has their opinions in this town. And as a consequence, it's difficult to build consensus around public art, though I've always been a believer that consensus should not be the prerequisite for a public art installation, quite the contrary, and that's why I was very enthusiastic to see that this project moved forward. Of course, nothing made me more enthusiastic when I actually saw the folks, all of you out here, actually putting it together and saw it take shape in remarkably quick order. So I congratulate you and thank you for inspiring us and for inspiring those visitors, as well as the school kids that come here en masse, that come up and are already pointing their fingers, wondering where that large bird is. That must be somewhere in the sky or hidden in what appears to be these nests, though Patrick will explain exactly what these are and what they mean, and the allegorical nature and the historic construct, and as only a great artist can. The backdrop of this, of course, is City Hall, where we also are blessed to have a new installation that Bill Fontana has put in, this remarkable sound chamber that he's created in the rotunda of City Hall. All of these things are about elevating that sense of spirit and pride and instilling a sense of well-being in people that come here and are surprised and come to City Hall and experience something that they didn't necessarily anticipate to experience. That's, to me, what it's all about and what great public art is about. And so I'm very, very proud to have sort of bookends, so to speak, inside City Hall and right outside City Hall, these two very exciting installations. And I'm very thankful again to Luis Cancel and to PJ Johnson and the arts community for inspiring us to do more of this. We, of course, were a year ago here on the opposite side with the Manolo sculptures, Manolo Valdez that we had, which were also magnificent and had been seen in other parts of the world, but here in San Francisco. And they were adorned with a large sculpture or garden, a vegetable garden that we are standing in, that we also placed here. And this is the segue to other announcement that we are making here today. And that is, you're seeing not just an artistic expression being advanced here in front of Civic Center or in Civic Center Plaza in front of City Hall, but you're also seeing an effort to activate the Civic Center. It has been many, many years since the Civic Center has been activated. You've seen, candidly, a lot of things taken away, not much added back over the years. And a lot of that has been well conceived but had unintended consequences. As we were trying to address some of our social issues, we actually took away that sense of community and that sense of vibrancy and connection that had always been a hallmark historically of the Civic Center. And now in an effort to bring it back, we've been looking at best practices. We've been looking at ideas and inspiration around the world. For example, what we're standing on was inspired very much from Paris. And the visits that those that have had the privilege to visit the Louvre, and if you make your way down, you'll walk outside and you'll walk through the beautiful gardens there in front of the Louvre on your way back to your hotel, or when you're walking around and discovering Paris, and you'll find a similar composite material on the ground. You'll see as well, when you have that experience, that there is much more beautiful garden that adorns the area. Now, we're not there yet, but you can see there's an intentionality behind putting these planted gardens here. Well, not just the big Victory Garden that we had, but now some other components. And this is just a taste of it. This is just the beginning of the change that you're going to experience. We have just a few days ago put this demonstration project of these electric cars and compressed natural gas cars and hybrid cars as also part of this narrative of sustainability. So the connection of arts and sustainability and the environment, and now the idea of bringing more community by getting some cafes out here and having the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors and get your lunch and experience some of the talents of some of our local purveyors. So on both sides, the north and south side, we now have engaged with some local restaurateurs of sort, some cafe operators, and they'll be activating both parts of this plaza as well. And finally, we're going to be getting folks out here to celebrate some of the artistic talent we have in dance and music, not just the physical and art installations that you see here. So some of the cast from Wicked will be out here doing some noontime singing. Some of our other iconic cultural institutions will also be out here on a weekly basis doing a lot of free singing and dance and other artistic expression. Again, all with an idea and goal of activating the space. Finally, the space is not just being activated here. We're trying to connect the space all the way down to UN Plaza. We've made a lot of improvements in UN Plaza. If I showed you photographs 4 years ago of UN Plaza, you would not believe the changes today. What's happened, though, is you've seen that progression over the years, so you didn't really notice it as acutely had we just done it overnight. So there's still a lot of challenges there. I get it. I see it every single day. But we made a lot of progress, and I want to thank DPW and Ed Reeskin and his team and Recreation and Park and others. One of the newest things we did is we put this, what we call safety barrier, around the BART entrance and exit just down the block. We got rid of, and you can see the photographs of some of the work, that sort of hard-edged concrete where a lot of folks were hanging out, a lot of folks were dealing drugs and all kinds of other things that were happening there. And just by changing that barrier, it has dramatically impacted the space. Just that one physical improvement has already dramatically changed behavior of people. Now, we know that's not absolute. We know there's still a lot of work, again, but that is all part of an effort to look to extend that idea all the way down Market Street and do a similar type of installation. In fact, we want to make it even more beautiful than the one we did as a pilot. You'll also see some work we're doing to green the median strips right in front of the theater. We took a median strip and we planted it, and you can see that work there, the old crash barriers. And of course, we have this longer term goal of doing solar, wind generation out here, and to make this part of our sustainability district, which we announced at the Clinton Global Initiative last year. And that is very exciting, and that work is taking shape. And so we're just giving you a little sense of that. LED lights that have been put up and all kinds of other exciting things, not just the little solar installation you see there, but some major solar installation you're going to see all around the Civic Center in the upcoming months, cogeneration facilities, etc. Sorry again to be long-winded, but there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot that's going to be happening, and we wanted just to celebrate this milestone with this great installation and the good work that Astrid Hayari has done leading this charge in my office, and I'm very proud of her commitment to this and very enthusiastic about the progress that's been made to date, but more enthusiastic, Astrid, about the progress that we will make in the next few months with all of our partners that Astrid is going to introduce to you that are committed to this effort as we bring back to life San Francisco's own beautiful Beaux-Arts Civic Center. So thank you all very much for coming out, and we've got a lot of other folks coming behind me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Arts Commission, of course, as I mentioned, is very proud to be part of this sustainable district concept. And, you know, as you look around, there are many institutional partners here, including the Asian Art Museum and the Public Library and the Symphony and the Orchestra that all surround the Civic Center Plaza. But now it's my pleasure to introduce a world-renowned sculptor, Patrick Doherty. He has a really unusual background as an artist. You don't usually think of a sculptor as coming with a major in English literature or a master's in public administration in the health area. But that was part of the formation of Patrick. And he is an artist that blossomed later in life and connected with his North Carolina roots, where, as his family has shared in various anecdotes, he had a real knack for wandering through the woods and observing the material that was in those woods and being able to transform that natural material into structures. And this, later in life, has led him to be one of the few artists, really, that is invited all over the world to create these natural fiber structures in public spaces. And so his work, unlike many sculptors who work in metal and in stone, really have an ephemeral quality. And so it really is a pleasure for me to bring this extraordinary artist and welcome him to San Francisco. Let's give him a warm welcome, Patrick Doherty.
Thank you so much. You know, my name is Patrick Doherty, and I'm a sculptor, and I travel the world and make sapling sculptures. And I make about 8 to 10 of these things every year, and they take 3 weeks. You know, and after working with this material for a while, I realized that I had a deeper resonance with it. I'd grown up in the woodlands of North Carolina, and we have lots of underbrush and intersecting lines there. And like some kids laid in the fields and looked at the architectural details of clouds, I found myself looking at the drawing quality of the winter landscape, looking up in those branches and maybe seeing a face here or something, maybe a shape. And so when I I looked up in the branches and see possibilities, and so when I turned to sculpture, it was easy for me to co-opt the forces of nature and play all that energy out in that drawing style out into the surfaces of these works. But I had to figure out what birds and beavers and other natural shelter builders already knew about sticks, and that is that they have an inherent method of joining. If you drag a stick through the woods, you said, I mean, it entangles and everything. That's really the simplest method of joining, and a stick has a little flexibility, so if you pull it through a matrix and let it go, it snaps back and it holds itself in place. You know, I was totally thrilled when I saw these trees here in front of the Civic Center. And, you know, I imagined big tumbling swirls of sticks that race through the tops of these trees. I imagined maybe some spires or some steeples, much like the one on the Capitol there that stuck up through the summer, leaves and the leaf mass and up through that roof, and that they would have a kind of scale that would hold their own and seem like that they were credible in this space. I also thought that they would be, up above the level of trouble, that they would stand up above and be entangled in the limbs in a way that, people could continue using the space, as they do now. They have exercising classes out here, and there are festivals, and there's just a lot of hanging out, and so that we would build a sculpture that was really unencumbered. I have a method to my madness, and the way that I work is I have a process, and you can see in the scaffolding back here that we've taken big limbs and we've worked them into the upper reaches of the trunk, and we've done it in such a way that we've got a good structural base. And then we've set our scaffolding around it, and then we pull the limbs out into the shape that we like. But once you know that you've got a really good structural base, you can go back and start aestheticizing. So we have layers of sticks. So the next layer of sticks will just hook into the structural base. So we kind of put sticks in ways that really look good. And finally, I go back and make cosmetics. There's a fix-up. It's kind of an erasing. And so you can go back and add little sticks over areas that you think are inconsistent and really don't look that good. This sapling materials, is the materials of monkey nest, but it's also, they're lines with which to draw. And so everything that you do with a pencil and a piece of paper, all those conventions, those drawing conventions, you use those same conventions to enliven the surface of a stick structure. I think a good sculpture is one that causes lots of personal associations. And we're out here in public, so we hear things about nests. We hear things about childhood play. We hear things about indigenous tribes and trees and favorite trees that you've known and had. But the main thing that I hear is how important parks and open spaces are to maintaining that kind of equilibrium of suburban spaces, and how important it is to people to be able to just to get out, look into the sky, look into the upper branches of trees, look out into the ocean, and just for a minute feel like a creature that doesn't really have to be that self-conscious. We have the drama of building going on out here. In other words, people walk by, they talk to us the entire time. It helps settle the work into the site itself. And while we're here, I love representing making in a positive way. I like interceding for the arts. I like demystifying the process. But mainly I like reminding people that sculptors are just normal people who are looking for their rightful place in the world of work. And I would like to thank the mayor, the city, the mayor's office, the Arts Council, the Parks Department, and these four guys back here that really helped me make this possible. Thank you so much.
I also wanted to acknowledge the four installers that are working with Patrick in this installation, two of which are San Franciscan artists, and the other two, one comes from I believe Los Angeles, and the other one from New York. Is that right? And now it's my pleasure to introduce a colleague who actually shares a very similar sort of history with me, in the sense that Astrid Haryadi and I both joined the Newsom administration in his second term. And since she's arrived, she really has been a catalyst in so many different ways to bring various different departments of the city together around a common vision to help improve the quality of service and the urban life here in San Francisco. And so really it is a great pleasure for me to introduce Astrid Haryadi.
Mr. Mayor, partners, thank you very much for this joining us today in this lovely day. As Mayor Newsom stated earlier, we are very committed to transform our Civic Center into a vibrant and sustainable district, where our premise is simple but very powerful. We need to address the most challenging urban environments by rethinking many of the existing buildings and spaces around here, especially in Civic Center. And what a better way to educate the world on sustainability than by transforming this particular core to showcase our leadership. You will hear that to pull this, activating our public spaces that actually also transform our civic center to be sustainable district takes many partners, as shown here behind us. I want to first acknowledge our long-term partners for this great effort. Many departments and agencies have been working with us, but most importantly our SFPUC from Laura Spangen, also Rosie Jenks here as well, has been working very hard in regards to improving our building performance of environmentally speaking, and making forward that power, water, and wastewater, and many other of the efficiency are in place for many of this building around us. I want to also acknowledge the leadership of Dean of UC Berkeley Extension, Diana Wu, with us here, our Program Director for Sustainable Design, Michael Samet, Program Director for Sustainability Management and Systems, Stephen Chan. Please raise your hand if you'd like. There's just a big crowd of partners here, as well as their Marketing Manager, Sharon Campbell, with us here today. Also for the program instructor, Jessica Kraft, Jesse Markman, and Megan Quinn, who has dedicated and continued support for the district implementation program, which will roll out in the coming months. They brought post-professional students with them with background ranging from construction management, engineering, architecture, urban design, landscape architecture, and even fashion design to support immediate improvement needs led by many city departments and for the overall vision for the district. I want to also acknowledge our long-term partners here, Stacy Frost, the founder of Urban Revision, and her staff of Nicole Kasani and Tyler Young, somewhere in the crowd, for their commitment to help us in leading a dialogue and a workshop with experts in sustainability, with key city staff and area stakeholders to help in creating a framework and roadmap to implementing the overall vision. So at this time, I want to ask Dean of the UC Berkeley Extension, Diana Wu, to share brief remarks with us.
UC Berkeley Extension is pleased to partner with the City and County of San Francisco to transform the Civic Center into a vibrant and sustainable district. We believe that sustainability is both a societal imperative and an economic opportunity that requires an educated workforce to be able to help produce long-term growth and prosperity. Those of us who are educators have a responsibility to prepare people to take on these new roles successfully. We are delighted to share our green knowledge with the city by providing 6 interns from our Sustainability Studies program. They're here with us today. These are professional engineers, designers, builders, and landscape architects that Astrid mentioned, and who are working with Astrid, the Mayor's Greening Director, to assist with research and development for the overall district plan. UC Berkeley Extension Sustainability Studies' mission is to educate professionals in emerging green industries and to equip them with knowledge to lead the transition into a greener economy. Our program emphasizes an interdisciplinary approach to sustainability in a broad range of important areas, including sustainable urban redevelopment, green building and design and construction, renewable energy, and clean technologies. We look forward to continuing this dynamic and productive partnership with the city to help fulfill the vision of a vibrant and environmentally sound civic center district that can be shared by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Wu. And also, as Mayor mentioned, although we have many steps moving forward for the long-term effort and bringing the overall vision, we have plenty of immediate area improvements. I want to thank City Administrator Ed Lee and General Service Agencies team, John Updike and Ron Lane, for all logistical supports for today and many of other efforts. DPW Director Ed Riskin, as well as Deputy Director of Operation Mohammed Nuru, and as well as our recent addition of Deputy Director for Engineering, Suisse, for the excellent and elegant improvement to BART entrance and Market and 7 that Mayor mentioned earlier. As well as DPW landscape designer Kathleen O'Day and many operation team for the beautiful arrangement of drought-tolerant planted median in front of the Orpheum Theater. These have shown in the presentation board here at this event. And also, as the Mayor mentioned, DPW has also been critical to the completion of the electric vehicle charging station that was announced yesterday. So at this time, I'd like to bring to you the Civic Center champion, who's also a commissioner for the City Hall Preservation Committee, Jim Haas, who will share with us his brief remarks.
Thank you. I guess I'm the longest-term partner since I was recruited into this effort when Dianne Feinstein was mayor. Civic Center is the largest collection of neoclassical public buildings outside of the Washington, D.C. It is on the National Register of Historic Places, and San Francisco is the only city of some 70 cities in 1900 that were talking about creating a civic center that has actually completed the work. It's not complete because it's a work in progress. Since the '89 earthquake, some $3 billion has been spent in this area, redoing public buildings, building new public buildings, building housing. We're going to have 5,000 or 6,000 residents living in this area in a few years, and adding to the employment base of the area. So there's a lot of things going on. There are a lot of things that need to be done. There are 3, possibly 4 public buildings that still need seismic upgrading. This plaza, which was redone in 1957, is, in my opinion, rather decrepit. It's not very welcoming. It needs to be redone and made a useful part of the area. These are large projects, but a lot of the things that we've been doing are of a very small nature. And UN Plaza is the area that we've spent a lot of time on, and I want to give credit to the San Francisco Police Department, which has also worked very hard in patrolling that area, getting rid of the people selling stolen goods, drug dealing, and whatnot. And what DPW has done with the several projects they've done there is an interesting example of using design to deal with social problems. So there's a lot more of that needs to be done at all levels, and at the moment there's nothing sort of coherent that brings everybody together. And with the mayor's support, we're going to be looking into creating a community benefits district for the area that will encompass some 20 blocks. Half of those blocks are public properties, half of them are private. It will deal with security, maintenance, and perhaps improving the signage. So this is very much a work in progress, as it has for the last 100 years, and I'm delighted to have been involved with it and hope to be involved with it for another 10 or 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Also, thank you for your dedication and allowing us to actually move forward with many of our improvements for the district. You will hear that it takes many partners to activate our public space, but it can be done. Even for some of you who got a call from my office for this partnership for perhaps less than 2 weeks ago, all of you had been an exemplary Yes We Can group of people, so I'm indebted, and we all indebted to all you for making today's possible. So many credits for Kathy Shoup and son David Shoup for taking up the challenge enthusiastically by expanding their existing smaller food service operation existing in this plaza into what now called Art and Garden Cafe. And the North Cafe will now have coffee, drink, healthy salad, sandwiches, and the South Cafe will have soup station and ice cream and other desserts. They're planning to operate from 10 to 6 p.m. on weekdays. And thank you very much for your help on making this happen. As you can see, there are around 60 beautiful drought-tolerant container planting are spread throughout the area where you can observe urban-tolerant and water-conscious plants, and that can easily be placed in your front yard, backyard, balconies, or even on your roof in your house, in your residence, or your workplace. On the North Garden Cafe, I want to thank Paul and Marta Kephart from Rana Creek Living Architecture. We also have Josh Kopke, Mary Goulet, and Beth Ackery, if I'm not mistaken. They designed and installed 5 planters that are ranging from medicinal, herbal to coastal themes. And thank you very much for your help on this. Working with Jensen Corporation landscape contractors, especially with Jessica Hill, they will also be unveiling biotray demonstration showing a close-up sample of living roof similar to the one installed on the roof of the California Academy of Science. Please visit us back within a week to learn more about it. And on in the Center Garden where you are here today, I want to thank Tim O'Shea of Greenworks Design and Jake Mann from Greenwood Design and David Stelbach from Living Green. Thank you guys for this wonderful planters that you brought out here. This wonderful planting that strongly define the space is going to be a place for the plant green programming that the mayor has mentioned earlier, where we plan to have regularly scheduled lunch hour performances, green talks, and the like. And this wonderful center area also supported by the San Francisco production of Wicked, where producers David Stone and Mark Platt currently playing an open-ended engagement at the Orpheum Theater. And on the South Garden Cafe on my right here, I want to thank groups of partners. Hazel McDonald from General Manager of Flower Craft Garden Center, and Elizabeth Zypern from Sloat Garden Center for their beautiful drought-tolerant plantings. Thank you very much. And 2 planters in this area also are proudly designed by the city's own gardeners from Rec and Park departments. Special thanks to Danny Kern, Steve Sismowski, and our gardeners led by Justin Lyman. They prepared all the planters before receiving the plants and will continue caring for them. I believe SF Botanical Garden also helped us on this area. Credit also goes to SHN and the company's president, Carol Shurenston Hayes. And also we have Ann Abrams here with us. Thank you very much for your help on this specific garden area. All of this beautiful setting cannot be done without the help of the Art Institute of California, San Francisco pre-production class and their instructor, John Chester, and who also brought and enlisted his young son here to the event today. Nico Van Dong and Tyler Young from Urban Revision had helped with all the beautiful signs here. These beautiful posters and interpretive signs were either printed on biodegradable materials or were using silk screening printing technique on reclaimed wood. So enjoy those as well. I believe we also have the Art Institute of San Francisco President Byron Chung here. Thank you, Byron, for your help, and staff, Jennifer Tamara and Lorraine Woodchuck here with us today, and many of the actually professors and other instructors here with us as well. And the students who work very hard on this science are here as well. Tim McSweeney, Clark Daywood, Ronnie Penberthy, Dan Chu, and Karen Begreblian, if I'm not mistaken. Karen, thank you very much here. My utmost thanks surely go to Mayor's Office interns from UC Berkeley Extension Sustainable Program, led by one of its graduate, Christine Walker, who has been critical to this effort. Christine, wherever you are, please raise your hand. Thank you. And 5 other part-time interns who are working very hard on both the overall vision of the implementation and on activating programs such as today. Sharmili Valenture, Melinda Santos, Nikki Rivers, Pallavi Gandhi, and our recent addition, Charles Gulick. Thank you guys very much. So this group of post-professional graduates has been helpful. Thank you all for your partnership with this program and attendance of today's event. Please join us for a tour of Patrick Doherty's of Upper Crust sculpture led by the featured artist. And enjoy the wonderful day and enjoy the Civic Center very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.